Hello beautiful people, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Today's video is just going to be us kind of going through what books I want to read this summer. There are definitely some books on this list that you guys have already seen me talk about previous, like last year, over a year ago at this point, saying that I was going to read them or I wanted to read them, and it just never happened. So if they don't get read this season, they gotta go. We need to read them over the summer because they are the perfect summer reads and they are highly raved about. So let's hope that I can actually read all of them this season. I really wanted to narrow down like which books I wanted to read this summer, especially off my physical TBR, because I'm really trying to chip away at the amount of books that I have that are unread, which I might do one of those like TBR takedown kind of videos that a lot of people do, where they have a ton of unread books and then they really focus in on only reading them, which I've only read books that I've owned already so far this year, so, which isn't a lot though, so don't get too excited. Okay, let's get into the summer hopefuls. So the first one, we've talked about it before, and it is a book that everybody loves. That's Beach Read by Emily Henry. I still have not read this book. Let's see when this was popular. It came out May 2020 and I still haven't read it. We're halfway through 2026. So I'm very late to the party on this one. Every single year I want to read this book. Every single summer I'm like, I'm gonna read it, which I got this book from my sister. She read it and then she gave me her copy and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna read it. So technically it wasn't originally part of my TBR, like I didn't own this book originally, so it doesn't feel as bad because I didn't spend money on it. But I desperately need to read this book. It is the perfect summer read. I mean, obviously it is called Beach Read. This is some of everybody's favorite booktubers, like one of their top recommended books. It was super popular on Book Talk years ago. A lot of these I don't know a whole lot going into them because I kind of like to go in blind, especially for romances, because sometimes the blurbs can kind of give away a lot to the story. Both of the main characters are authors. One is a romance author and one is a literary fiction author, and they're kind of polar opposites, so it's kind of that opposites attract from what I can understand. And then they both are dealing with writer's block, so they both go to the beach and they happen to be staying next to each other, and then, you know, forced proximity and kind of a mutual agreement that they want to get out of their writing slumps. You know, they want to get out of their writer's block, so they want to help each other, and then they fall in love. So sounds like the absolute perfect summer read. A big part of it is every single year I want to go to the beach and read this, and then I never do. But I am already planning some beach trips this year, so. But even if I don't read this at the beach, it's gonna get read. This is gonna get read. Trust in that, okay? We're gonna read this. Right alongside Beach Read, we also have People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, which has been turned into a movie, and I have not watched the movie because I've told myself that I have to read the book first before I read it. I really want to read this because I really want to watch the movie. I actually don't know if people liked the movie or not. I don't know that I've heard a lot about it, so maybe that means it wasn't that good. But I still want to watch it anyways because I love a good romance. But again, this is a vacation-y novel where two opposites attract. We have Poppy, our wild, crazy, chaotic main character, and then Alex, he is the chill, laid back, wears khakis. It literally says on the back that he wears khakis kind of guy. And it's also not only like an opposites attract, from what I can understand, it's also a second chance romance, like childhood best friends. I don't know how much of childhood, but it says like college, so they were friends for a really long time, then they fell out, then years pass, and then they try and fix it. So again, this is kind of just a cutesy little romance, which should be a very fast read, and that is exactly what I'm looking for this summer, because since I haven't filmed in over a year and I've been so busy, I really haven't read a lot, which is kind of heartbreaking. I am calling it a slump, even though it wasn't necessarily that I didn't want to read, it's that I just didn't have a whole lot of time, or the time that I did have, you're just exhausted when you're super busy, and sometimes it's hard to pick up a book. So these are the kind of books, like these two books are the kind of books that will really help speed up getting out of a slump, hopefully. So Both of these Emily Henry books are on the TBR. Next, we have Two Can Play, which is Ali Hazelwood's like newest novella. And so it is really short, so I know that this one will be read very fast. And also I apologize about this 25% off sticker, but I don't even know where I got this from. Like, I don't know what store I bought this from, but this sticker, the hardest thing to get off. I literally can't get it off. I will keep trying to get it off though, because it is really annoying. But you guys know that I love an Ali Hazelwood book, and this is just another one of those enemies to lovers, nerdy romance, and they're gamers. So, which saying the word gamers is, ew, that word makes me laugh. But they are game developers, they play video games, they're enemies, they work together, but they're enemies, kind of like the hating game kind of vibes, what I'm feeling from this. But this is definitely a top contender for a 5-star read. I know it is a novella, and novellas for me are really hard to like give a star rating because they're so short that usually they are pretty like fast paced, and you know, there's only so much information they can give you in a short amount of time without it feeling like word vomit. So sometimes it's hard to rate novellas, but it is an Ali Hazelwood book, so you guys know this is probably gonna be like a 4 to 5 star. Hopefully that rings true. Now a quick switch from all the romance is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This is a gorgeous copy of this book. When I saw this cover, I was like, yep, I need that one right now. You're coming home with me. I have heard really good things about this book, even from peers, and so I am really excited to get into this one. I've had it for a minute now, a couple of months now, sitting on my shelf, and I am ready to pick this up. It's kind of a feel-good kind of fiction. I feel like there's gonna be some heartbreak in here. We have a widow that starts working at the aquarium on night shift, trying to, you know, mourn her loss and cope with the changes in her life and kind of starting new. And then she connects really heavily with the octopus at the aquarium, which when I say it out loud, it sounds...
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
That sounds weird. I promise it's not like that. Don't be weird about it. I mean that the incredibly remarkable smart creature that an octopus is helps Tova, our main character, learn what happened to her lost family member, and is kind of a detective in a sense. So it's a very interesting take on a fiction novel, and I'm very excited to get into this one. Honestly, in my time away from reading, I kind of forgot what this book was about, but picking it up again for this TBR, I am very, very excited to get into this one, like refreshing my brain on what it's about. I'm very excited to read this one. So then back to the romances again. We've seen this book before and other books of hers on my channel, and I still haven't read them. That is Annabelle Monaghan's Summer Romance. This is a summer romance, so what a better time to read it than summer? I mean, come on, it's perfect. It's perfect time. This is kind of like a second chance at life romance because which I can definitely feel this one also pulling at heartstrings. Her mom passed away, her and her husband got divorced, and she found a new possible love after letting herself do what she wants, wearing overalls, being messy, you know, not having to be perfect all the time. And that's when a new man comes into her life, and she kind of gets a second chance at living her romance, her fairy tale. And I really just like that. It's kind of contemporary fiction. It's a contemporary romance. You're getting the slice of life. She's changing her life. Family dynamic has changed. She's gone through a loss, and then new love blossoms through all of this like pain and mourning that she's had to go through. I feel like this is a pretty short book, so this will be an easy read in the sense that it'll be kind of bingeable. I do wonder if this book is gonna be sad or if it's kind of gonna go straight to like happy ending. I'm fine with that either way. I do love a book that can pull at your heartstrings, just because I love when a book can pull emotions from you. Like, you're reading words on a page and yet you can start crying or giggle, or you know, be super excited for characters, or you can hate characters because they're terrible. And I really like that about books. I mean, that is why we all read books, right? But in a romance especially, or a contemporary fiction, I love to see some of that raw, deep feeling that humans have. I'm excited to see how all of these romances go and how surface level they are, or if they like get into the, you know, grimy parts of life. The last book that I have physically that I want to add to my TBR is Welcome Home, Caroline Klein. This is a book about, again, kind of a new start to life, gets that second chance. It does seem like there's a second chance romance for a childhood crush in here, which is very fun. I could hear the male person singing. I wonder if they can hear me talking to myself. Anyways, she doesn't have a partner, she doesn't have a place to stay, so she's going back home to Jersey. It also was fruitful timing because her dad ended up needing help, so she's kind of taking over for her dad and helping him out. And I feel like there are going to be some really complex relationships in this book, as well as I was talking about with the Annabelle Monaghan book, that I'm hoping for some complex, deep relationships in that one. I think that this one will deliver on that, and I'm really excited. I mean, this is a really cute cover. I mean, I haven't really heard a whole lot about this book, and so I'm excited to read this one as well. And then I have a couple of books that I do want to pick up at some point this summer that seem like they'll be really good books. I am really trying to read all of the books I have physically, but you know, you gotta keep life a little bit interesting. So there's a couple that I do want to pick up at some point, hopefully. The first one is The Secret Lives of Murderers' Wives by Elizabeth Arnett. This is a thriller book set in the 1960s. There are 3 wives, and all of them have husbands that have been convicted serial killers, and then there is a string of murders happening, and so these 3 wives use their experience with having husbands that are murderers to find the killer and work together to be detectives. I know it's kind of like a gruesome topic, but it does kind of sound like a fun take on a thriller. I do love a nice like 1960s to 70s like thriller set novel, or even like movie. And so I am really excited to get into that one as well. I do want to go pick it up at some point. It came out, I believe it came out earlier this year, so it is still kind of new. So I haven't really heard anything about it, but it does sound pretty good to me. And then the next one is also a thriller book. It's This Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum. This is a book of 2 podcasters that go through different scenarios and what you should do to save your life in those scenarios. When one morning, one of the podcasters shows up to the other one's house ready to record their next episode, the scene in front of them is like a lot of the stories that they tell. There's nobody to be seen, there's glass shards everywhere, it's looking like a crime scene. The other podcaster that's gone missing and their husband have gone missing, so our main character Benny has to then try and solve the mystery of the disappearance of their co-host and their co-host's husband, try and use the skills that they talk about every day. There seems to be some drama, there's some lies being told, and it just seems like kind of, again, a cool take on a thriller. I mean, you've got podcasters, which are very, very popular. A lot of crime, like true crime podcasters are very popular nowadays. I mean, I tend to listen to them from time to time while I'm working. And so I do think it's kind of a fun take on, you know, being a detective or trying to solve a mystery, kind of giving me vibes of like Only Murders in the Building. This one is also on my TBR to hopefully grab at some point. And then the last book on my summer TBR at the moment is another debut novel and also a thriller murder mystery. That is The Midnight Taxi by Yosha Gunasekera. Also a fun take on a thriller. It is about a New York City yellow cab driver who goes to pick up their passenger, and on arrival they realize that the passenger that they're going to pick up is dead. And so then of course this taxi driver becomes the lead suspect in the case, and so then it becomes a whodunit, and the taxi driver has to try and clear their name and prove that they're innocent. And I also think that this novel, while being a debut novel, it has already gotten some pretty high reviews, and I am excited about that. It came out earlier this year, so it is still pretty new, and it's also kind of cool because Yosha Gunasekera is an attorney, so she does have some pretty cool insight and background to go into writing a thriller mystery, murder mystery, whodunit kind of novel. And I am really interested to see how her experience in her career let her write this novel. It also just sounds like a pretty good book in general. So I'm excited to pick that one up as well. And while I'm very hopeful to get through all 9 books that I mentioned, here, minus the 3 that I need to buy, here is our stack for this summer, which this is a really gorgeous stack. Like these colors, this is perfect for summer. Sure, the murder mystery thrillers aren't necessarily the most summer vibes, but I do like to break up reading fiction and romance with some more exciting books as well to make sure that I don't get into a slump. So that is gonna be all for me today. Let me know a book that you guys want to read this summer, or if you've read any of these and if they're good, so that I'm motivated to actually read them. Okay, well that's gonna wrap us up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.